Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Nomad World Show. I'm Becky, and I'll be your host today. And I am speaking today with Alex Vanden Elsen, who is going to talk about why Antalya, Turkey is the next great digital nomad destination. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Becky.
Thank
I'm
you.
really happy
I'm
to
really
be here.
excited.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to tell you about Antalya.
All right, so let's get into it. And first of all, can you tell us about your background and how you became a digital nomad and how you got to Antalya, Turkey?
My background, yeah, of course. Well, I've been working remote for quite a while, for maybe 10 years at least. But first I was, for several reasons, bound to Netherlands. Then I moved to Belgium. I had my business there, and because of family reasons, kind of had to stay there. But during that time, I got to know some digital nomads. I had the opportunity to work remote, of course, so I was already going to Barcelona and to Chiang Mai and to San Diego, and we worked for a month, 6 weeks from there. And of course, got to know more digital nomads. And yeah, I said to myself, okay, once I have the opportunity to go fully digital nomad, that's when I will do it. And I think this happened, when was it? 4 years from now, more or less, yeah. 2018, that happened. So yeah, from then on, I've been fully remote, and I've been traveling a bit here and there, and yeah, enjoying the lifestyle.
Yeah, and as you said, you've been checking out these different digital nomad destinations, and you've been even trying them out for months at a time. So why Antalya, Turkey? What brought you there? How did you get there in the first place?
Well, that's a nice question, because it was not like for some of the destination I go, and yes, I usually stay for a couple of months. I'm not somebody that wants to travel fast, but for Antalya, actually, it was we were choosing that not for a reason that we thought like this is going to be awesome. Actually, it was more like it was the winter still, that we didn't know what was going to happen with COVID, how it would proceed. And me and my girlfriend didn't want to go to Asia because it was kind of unsure what would be happening there. Also, so for that reason, we wanted to be close to our parents, close to Europe, and it would be convenient to be in the same time zone as Europe. I myself have a lot of clients in Netherlands. In my normal life, I'm a business coach, and so it's convenient to be in that time zone. So we were looking for something that would be a little bit warmer in the winter, not as cold as most of Europe, and but still in a similar time zone. So yeah, of course, there are a few destinations that come to mind then, but we narrowed it down to Dahab in Egypt, which I think a lot of nomads know as a destination, or Antalya in Turkey. Um, we chose for Antalya actually because we thought, okay, we're going to go for a couple months, and we want to have a bit more luxury than what Dahab is known for, which is quite basic accommodation and everything. And so yeah, we chose Antalya for that reason, and we didn't know much about it. And all that I knew about Antalya was like, yeah, all-inclusive resorts and yeah, mass tourism. That is what the reference I had, because country where I'm from, Netherlands, people go there yeah, for those resorts. And I knew that a lot of Germans and English and Russians also go there, also to those resorts. So I was not sure if we were gonna like it, but the big surprise for me, because we were going to Antalya, the city, because Antalya is also the name of the region. It's the main touristic region here in Turkey. And the central city, the capital, is also Antalya, and was where we were heading to, because we enjoyed to be in the city, and especially in winter, and there would be a little bit more to do. And then we found out it is actually a lovely city with a fantastic old town. And that was the big surprise. But I didn't know that
Wow.
before I came. I really didn't know.
Okay, so and is it just like the city and the old city? Fill me in on if I've never been there. Is it by the sea? What are all the things you can find in Antalya?
Well, yes, as I said, Antalya, Turkey is known by a lot of Europeans and a lot of people in the Middle East as a top tourist destination. So you will usually find Antalya in the top 20 tourist destinations in the world, among cities like London, Paris, Istanbul, Kuala Lumpur, you name it. Antalya is apparently in the top 20. But a lot of people outside of the European and Middle Eastern region are not so familiar with it. It's not, so it is on the south coast of Turkey. It has the sea. I don't know, for the people who are watching this on video, they can see it behind me. We have the sea view here at the co-working where I'm recording this from. And the unique thing I think about Antalya is that it is directly at the sea. So you have kilometers of beaches. You have the boat tours, you can go diving, but there's also the mountains. In the winter, you can go skiing here, you can go snowboarding here. It is like from here where I'm sitting in the harbor of the old town, the historic old town, 2000 years old and older. You just go into the mountains in 45 to 60 minutes, you're on the ski piste. So this is one of the things. So this is for the winter, of course. In mid-season, you can go hiking there. There are fantastic canyons, huge canyons. There are rivers for rafting. There is, so all the outdoor life is just around the city as well. And what I like that it's about Antalya being a big city is that it has all the amenities of a big city, but it is not, it is not Istanbul. Istanbul is huge. It has 70 million people. It is crazy city. And this can get to your nerves at some time. And it costs you a lot of time for traveling if you want to meet up with fellow nomads or with people you might have met. In Antalya, it is just a moderate big city. It is between 1 and 1.5 million people living here. So yes, it is big. And it means there are all the malls, there are cinemas, there is a lot of nightlife, but there's also a lot of festivals happening. There is a lot of music at night in the bars. And this is happening year round. Also, when the tourists are gone in the winter, it is still lively. There are universities, there are big companies, there's the government. So people are living here. It is unlike some of the smaller cities in the region, which are lovely, and a lot of nomads have discovered them already. I'm talking about Fethiye or Kash or Alanya. They are much smaller. Outside of the season, it is kind of dead because it is really thriving on just tourism. Antalya is the capital of this tourism region, but it is a year-round destination. And for me, that is a unique that I found that here. I've not seen it in this way, not too big, but big enough to have all the amenities, so close to nature, the sea and the mountains, and a lot of history, of course, as well. We shouldn't forget that.
Yeah, you make a really good point, because I can think of these other hotspot nomad destinations. For example, Bali, they have a rainy season. Chiang Mai has what they call the smoky season, where the farmers start burning their fields and it gets kind of toxic and you have to leave. And I love Bansko, but Bansko gets very cold in the winter. So if that's not your thing, then you need to go somewhere else. So yeah, it's quite rare to find a place that is big enough, but is also combining all of these different elements and is going to stay busy through the whole year, which if you're starting a business there, for example, is really helpful that you can rely on many different sources for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I totally agree on that. And you know, when I think about other destinations, I think, you know, every destination has something for it, and I love those destinations that you just mentioned. But for me, the very interesting thing is that a lot of nomads have traveled through the south of Turkey and through the region of Antalya, and I know that many of them also visited Antalya, the city. But since there has never been a digital nomad community here, it was not specifically like a digital nomad destination. And when I came here, I thought, wow, it is, you know, it is so much more than just all-inclusive resorts, because I didn't see those all-inclusive resorts in the first couple of months that I've lived here. You know, it was just a fantastic city with a lot of things going on. And I thought, wow, so many tourists come here, yet it is not a digital nomad destination, yet a lot of digital nomads have traveled here. And how does that come? And I think, yeah, because there was not much of a community, and somebody else started building that like 2-3 years ago, a little bit. So when I arrived, there was like a very small emerging digital nomad community already.
Okay, so I want to think about it from a digital nomad perspective. How would you get in, first of all, into Antalya? Does it have its own airport? Would you take a bus from Istanbul? What's the typical way you would get to Antalya?
No, if you're flying, you can either fly directly to Antalya Airport, which is the second airport, second destination of the country. So obviously Istanbul is huge for all international flights. And then there are many charter flights into Antalya. So people flying in from Middle East, from Europe, they might, especially in the season, they might find good charter flights to Antalya directly. But a very good second option is to fly through Istanbul airport. And for example, Turkish Airlines, they operate the line to Antalya like a bus service. It's like every hour there's a flight going. So it's very convenient. And I don't know, last time I flew, it was like 40 minutes, I think. It's very close by for flying. I think over land it is a bit far to go by bus or so, but some people do it. It's possible if you want to see something of the country, of course, why not? And the Antalya airport is located very convenient, close to the city center. So it is about 20 minutes taxi drive to the co-working here in the center of Antalya, which will cost you about $10, €10 for that taxi drive. You can also choose to take a tram. There will be about 25-30 minutes, I think. Yeah, so that's a choice, but it's really nearby, very convenient.
All right. And how about accommodation of a nomad coming in? You've said it's this huge city, so I imagine it's pretty easy, unlike some smaller destinations a nomad might go to find accommodation. But what is that situation like at the moment, and what are the prices on average?
Well, at the moment, everything around the world has been changing so much the last couple of months, I think, but especially around Europe because of the war in Ukraine. So we've seen that in Antalya as well. But how great everything is in Antalya, or I consider it great. And maybe the one downside for me, for a lot of digital nomads coming, is the accommodation, because they are focused on tourist accommodation. And obviously there's a lot of accommodations here, but not so much for what a typical nomad might be looking for. although I found out there's no typical nomad as such, because since we've opened the co-working here in Antalya, I found out that people are looking for so many different things that that I shouldn't say it. But what I mean is, like, if you're looking for apartments to rent for 1, 2 months, 3 months, there are places where it is easier to do that than here in Antalya. So you have to do a bit of research. Your best bet, as in many places, is Airbnb. And what we've seen there in the last couple of months, that prices have been going up due to the demand of Russians coming here who don't want to fight for their country, for who don't agree with the war, for Ukrainians who choose to come to the sun in Turkey, and also due to a lot of Europeans choosing to come to Turkey because of the high energy prices in Germany, Netherlands, countries like that, and they are enticed to stay over for the winter season, for example, in here in Antalya or other places in Turkey, as they don't want to spend all that money on energy, and they might as well live here a better life for less money. So it is not as easy as we would hope. But once you're here, I found that all the nomads that came visiting us, that came to Coworking Antalya, they've always been able to find something. And the way it works here is also, you should be aware that a lot of the Turks, they love to do business offline. So as much as we are digital and are online, and we want to do everything to Airbnb, the typical Turk wouldn't mind if you go outside of Airbnb. And this can be an advantage, of course, because it can give you a better deal, you can get better prices. So if you go to Turkey, I would certainly try, if you could get a better price, if you go out, if you feel comfortable with that, if you can go out of the platform. But always be aware, of course, for scammers. Be wise with what you do if you go outside of the platform. But I've seen that there are deals possible. And I've even seen, for me and for several other people, that they ask to see the apartment first before they rented it. So to maybe not even arrange it before you arrive and just book an hotel or a hostel or an Airbnb for a few days or a week, and while you're here, then see what is available and ask them to see the accommodation. So this is what several people have done. And that will help to make the decision. Not all the apartments out there are high class, so you may want to make a good choice. And I think, yeah, Turks in general, they don't mind you to show their property, to show their accommodation, and they prefer actually to see you in person and to make phone calls. They are not so much about mailing, or they use WhatsApp, but they like to make phone calls, and yeah, that's how it works. Of course, with the language that doesn't work so well. And maybe there's one more thing that I can say about that. Since we've started the co-working here, you know, I started this as a co-working space for digital nomads. We don't have just digital nomads. We also have expats and locals. We try to combine all of this in the community because I think that makes it much more interesting. But I'm aiming for digital nomads. So one of the first things I did is make those contacts with people that are renting out places. So we do have some contacts. We do have some properties available. For example, at the moment we have a 2-bedroom apartment available on a fantastic location with a great view over the park towards the mountains. So that is right at the sea. So the mountains the other side of the bay. That apartment is going for 1,350 euros or dollars per month on Airbnb, and for co-working members, I can rent it out for 850 euros, dollars, same at the moment, for members of our co-working. So, and now we are recording is probably a couple of weeks before you will broadcast this. It is available, but those kind of deals we have available. And we also have several people that are in a shared apartment. So with 3 or 4 other people in a big apartment, close to the city here, close around the old town, close to the co-working. And they typically pay anything between 100 and 125 euros per week, or 400, 500 per month. So you should think about those rates, depending on what it is and where you are. So this is at the moment while we're recording this, November 2020.
Oh, 2022.
2022.
Yeah,
22.
let's forget
Yeah.
about 2020. Oh, what that not a year I want to remember. Okay, well, let's talk about this co-working space a little bit more, because you've mentioned it, and this is what you started. When did you start Coworking Antalya, and why? And how many people, what is the capacity, let's say, of the co-working, and how has it been going since you started?
Well, what maybe a good thing is to tell, I came here in January 22. Our aim was to stay here for 90 days, because a lot of people, a lot of countries, they will get 90-day visa when you enter Turkey. So same for me, being Dutch, I came on a 90-day visa. So I had to leave end of April, and we were making our plans to travel on when I stumbled upon this fantastic location right in the center of Old Town, underneath the ancient city wall. Amazing sea view. We even have a partial view of the mountains at the other side of the bay. So here in the marina is just under us, and we are a bit above street level. So we are above all the murmur of the street, where there are no cars, by the way. So this is in the central area. So this was an amazing location, and I found this end of March. So that was within 2.5 months when I arrived, 2 weeks before I was bound to leave. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And when you find a place like this, of course, it is not cheap compared to other other properties in Antalya. But looking from a Western perspective, being European, it was still affordable. If you would want to find this in a major European city, that would cost a fortune. And I saw this and I fell in love with it immediately. I thought, wow, if I can get this, that would be amazing. This is where I wouldn't mind to work from, and I think what would be appealing to a lot of people. And that was my whole thinking. And I wasn't looking to open a co-working space. I played with the idea because I've been part of fantastic co-working spaces, and I played with the idea, maybe in the future it would be nice to see if we can start a co-working. I've played with it. I never made a plan for it. I never planned to do it now, until I found this location. And then I thought, okay, what can we do here? Yes, we can make a co-working space. So currently we have 40 workspaces. There's still room to expand a bit. So it means with people coming in that we have maximum of 50 working members. But our community is much bigger than that. At the moment, we have 200 active members in our community. This is within 6 months of starting. And so all those other members, they are social members. And I think that is what makes the community great and very lively. And I'm amazed that we could accomplish this so quick. Because as I said, I found this place end of March. It all went so fast, because at the same time I was also looking for an apartment, by the way. And as I told you before, apartments are not always so easy in Antalya. It costs a little bit more effort and persistence to find the right apartment, and that's what I found out myself. And I was actually a little bit annoyed by the process, how it was going. I was thinking about other destinations where I'd been, and I thought it's always much easier to find an apartment. And now I was looking for for an apartment for 1 year, because our plan was to leave Turkey and then come back and to go back and forth from Antalya. That was our plan. So we thought it would make sense to have a long-term apartment, especially since the long-term apartments are so much cheaper here. So I thought, okay, it doesn't matter if it is empty for a couple of months per year while we are traveling. And I was kind of frustrated with the process. And then I found this co-working location, and there was the thing. I was walking here in the marina area, and I saw it was for rent. And I was just looking at it, and the guys at the shops downstairs, they say, "Oh, are you interested?" And they said, "Oh, I have the." One of them said, "I have the key," and he opened the door, the gate, and then so the gate brought us to the terrace. So we have a huge deck here, 200 square meters, and that is where we have a lot of outside workspace. And it's amazing to work from there, especially in the morning, because the sun is coming from the other side of the city wall, and the city wall is blocking the sun, so we are fully shaded when it's hot in the summer. It's fantastic to sit there in the mornings. So he brought me up to the deck there, and that is where I saw the view for the first time. Wow. And then another guy came, and he had the key of the building, and he opened it, and I could go inside, and it was like this cute little building, very traditional, blue and white, reminded me a bit of Greece, and yeah, that was just lovely. And then there was somebody that gave me his telephone, and all of a sudden I was speaking to the landlord, to the owner of the property, and I didn't ask for it. And the owner actually spoke English, and that doesn't always happen here in Turkey either. And so I didn't have any communication problems. He said, "Oh, well, if you're interested, you have my phone number now, give me a call." And so I thought, okay. So yeah, when I've seen it, then I thought, okay, I have to meet this landlord and see if we can make it possible, because I also have had experience that they really like to negotiate, and that they bring up all kind of barriers. And yeah, I met with him 2 days later, and within 10 minutes we agreed, and I gave him a handshake, and and he gave me the key. I didn't pay anything yet, because we still needed to make a contract. And it happened to me that my Airbnb host is a lawyer, or was a lawyer. So yeah, I said, okay, I have a lawyer. Can we meet? When can we meet? He said, well, you can meet with my lawyer, and we will make the contract, but do we have a deal? I said, yes, we have a deal. And he gave me the key. It was, I think I received the key 30th of March. And we started renting 1st of April, and 3 weeks later we had our opening event, and May 22 was our first full month. And yeah, and now it is November, and within 6 months, yeah, last couple of weeks, we've experienced a lot of people coming. So we've been expanding all the time. My motto has been grow as you go. And yeah, so I was buying new office chair, new desks all the time, and it was pretty full. Now in November, I see it slowing down a bit, so I expect that it will be a bit less in November, December. But I think in 23, in January, February, March, it will be very busy again, because probably people will come for the same reason as why I came to Antalya, because it's not hot in January, February. It's the average temperature in January is 16 degrees in the afternoon, 16 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much Fahrenheit that is.
That's all right. People can do the,
it's all right,
you can
right?
do the, yeah, you can do the conversion if you need to know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So 16 degrees is kind of all right for me. It is okay, and it's bright. The sun is shining, and yeah, being in the European time zone.
How much rain does Antalya get in the winter time?
There are rainy days, and there will probably during a winter season, there will be some spells of 2-3 days in a row that it's raining, but usually it is like half a day of rain or so, what you can expect. Of course, when it rains, it can rain hard, but then it's over and it can be very bright the rest of the day or the day after even.
And how cold does it get
so,
at night in the winter there?
Well, I would say 8 till 10 degrees. Those are the cold days. So last year we experienced the coldest winter in 30 years, and that was my first winter here, which I experienced, and I still enjoyed a lot, even though I wanted to get away from the cold. But yeah, last year, yeah, the cold days wind nights were like 7-8 degrees. So yeah,
No
should be
problem.
prepared for
For
a bit
January,
colder at night.
February.
But during the day when the sun is shining in your face, then it's still nice. But don't expect it to be hot or that you will be going swimming. People, the daredevils, they go swimming into February already, March. But I would say it's getting more comfortable in May. But the season for swimming in the sea, it goes on till December. So now in November, we are all still swimming. Yesterday I was out. We are mid-November now. It's 25 degrees. Since June, I've only had 2 rainy nights and 1 rainy day so far. So I expect a bit more rain to come in the coming weeks towards December. But yeah.
How is the internet? I know this is what people are always wondering, especially if they've never been to Turkey. How is it at the co-working and how is it generally at the Airbnbs?
Yeah, well, in Antalya, the infrastructure is actually pretty good. But that is the weird thing that you have to look out for when you rent something, is that a lot of owners, they don't have the fast internet installed in their apartment, even those that are renting out. And I don't know why that is. The only reason that I can make is because there's a lot of inflation, as you might know, in Antalya.
And
so
Turkey
prices go up all the time, and Turkey, yeah. So prices go up all the time, and when they upgrade their internet, they will have to pay the new higher prices. So there are many apartments where the internet is not so fast, but the network overall, it's reliable, and that is very important. At the co-working, we have 100 Mbps download speed. We have 2 different networks with the 2 main providers here in Turkey, Turkcell and Turk Telecom. I think it's always good to have a backup. That was my idea in the beginning, but actually we don't experience many outages. So that's good. I would recommend, like in many destinations, to take local SIM card and to have some 4G on your phone as well. But yeah, and for renting an apartment, I would check if it's really important for you. I would check the speeds there, because it's not always very fast. There are some apartments they have under 10 Mbps download. That's quite disappointing because the infrastructure is there. And there are apartments that also must be said. There are also quarters in Antalya where you just have the super fast fiber up to 1000 Mbps. Unfortunately, we are here in the old town. I'm very grateful with 100 Mbps, and I think for 99% of the nomads that is more than enough. So yeah, but maybe they will upgrade that in the future as well. Let's see.
Okay, it does sound like it might be a good idea to come into Antalya, have a couple of nights or so booked, and maybe make the deal, like you said, in person with the owner and check the internet connection while you're talking to them, you know?
Well, I would say sign up for the co-working, and it doesn't matter so much your internet connection at home. I mean, that is where you have your local SIM card.
That is another way to do it. That's even more reliable, because I'm calling you if my internet goes out. I'm coming down to the co-working, Alex.
No, but you know, I think the co-workings. before I started this, I must be honest, I didn't always work from a co-working. I like to mix it up, working from home, from co-working, but I think this is one of the things that it is convenient for. I've seen also people, in the reviews that we received so far, people telling me so far that they are far more productive at the co-working, and I think that has to do with the environment where we are in here. It's just motivating to do so. So yeah, I'm hoping, of course, that people sign
Yeah.
up for co-working when they come here. But if you're really the work at home type of person, then you should double check here in Antalya on the speeds of your apartment, because it is changing very much per apartment. There are some that have super fast internet and some that have super slow.
Well, let's also talk about the cost of a membership, because you mentioned a social membership as well. At the moment, and we know prices can change, how much would it be to start getting a membership there?
Well, this is changing, and we're probably going to raise our prices for 2023 a little bit.
Take it with a grain of salt, viewers.
Yeah, so far the entire 22 we've charged 129 euros per month, or 327 per 90 days. So then that equals to 109 euros per month, paid in advance. So for people that are coming on a 90-day visa, that might be convenient. So yeah, there we also have a week pass and a day pass available. So, those are a bit more expensive if you compare it to the month pass, of course. Especially the day pass. We are not so much looking for people coming for a day, but okay, if you're just stopping by in Antalya, come say hello, work a day or two from here, it's fine. But we hope to attract people that stay with us for a month, for 2 months, 3 maybe, as we really started this for the community, as a community. And I think this is one of the perks of coming here. We are now one of those places in the world that has a lot of things going for it, but also an amazing nomad community.
Yeah, I wanted to also ask you what kind of events that you've, like a few examples of events you've already had at the co-working space.
Well, our weekly events include yoga Monday morning. On Tuesday evening, we have a business and marketing meeting, which I've been running successfully in Bansko for 2 years. And now we do it here in Antalya. So we have on Thursdays also presentations and workshop or meetups about different types of topics, a lot of things about mental health, well-being, spiritual topics, but also crypto or travel destinations or anything. So this is usually on Thursdays. We cooperate with the Antalya Beach Speakers group. They have a weekly event, not in the co-working. They have a monthly event in the co-working, but a weekly event in another location for people that want to practice their public speaking or want to overcome their fear for it. Then on Friday night, we have our big social event. This is called Vrijmibo. It is, the Dutch people know what it is. So we took the word from Dutch, and it basically means weekend drinks. So we start the weekend after work. We come together. Everybody brings some drinks to share, and or some drinks for themselves actually, and some food for sharing. And well, with the last couple of months, this has been growing exponentially. So nowadays we have like 80 people coming on a typical Friday. So this is the most popular event in our community, and many people often go out after that. So we don't stay too late. We don't want to make it into a full-blown party, though it starts to become like a party. Like when it's when the clock ticks 9 and people start to dance, but usually we like to go to one of the bars because there are many fantastic bars, especially if you like live music. There are a lot of options here, so there are a few co-working favorites where we go after, and that is always an amazing night. And then we also have our one-off events. So almost every month we organize a barbecue. We do monthly game night. What else have we done? Pub quiz. We have been diving. We have been on boat trip with the co-working. We've been organizing a weekend to Olympus, one of the historic cities in the Antalya region. There's fantastic nature, an amazing beach, and a lot of history. And there was an amazing party on Saturday night. So we did there an overnight weekend trip, things like that. We intend to do more of those kind of things. So for when the new season, tourist season starts, we are planning to go on an all-inclusive weekend with the co-working to one of those dreaded resorts. But I bet when we go with 50 people from the co-working community, that will be a completely different experience. So yeah, we've been hiking, of course. We've been how do you call it? Rafting. So yeah, too many things that we've been trying, and there are still a lot of things on our list. I'm sure we're going to make that happen in 23.
Wow, Alex, I think you have really sold Antalya to everybody watching this today. And thank you so much for sharing all of your insights and knowledge gained over these crazy 6 months you must have had that have been so successful. If people want to follow you, where can they go?
I think our most active channel is on Facebook, because I found that there are so many amazing digital nomad groups on
Digital
Facebook.
Nomad World. You can add some info there too after this interview.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah. So on Facebook, we have our group Coworking Antalya, so you can easily find it. I think that is where you get the best idea of what we are doing. We also have an Instagram channel also called Coworking Antalya, so easy to find. But I must admit, we are less active there. And for the people that are really considering to come, that want to know what is happening on the floor, or maybe they are already in Turkey, or they have booked their flight already, our main channel of communication here on the ground is WhatsApp. And I'm happy to add anyone to WhatsApp. I would suggest just message me in the Facebook group or through one of the links, and you can add the WhatsApp. But of course, if you're not coming soon, it might overwhelm you with all the messages in there, because this is where we announce all the events, where people are RSVPing. So yeah, I don't want to overwhelm people and think, okay, what's happening in these WhatsApp groups? So I would say, if you're not completely sure yet, I think the best place to get an idea is the Facebook.
All right. Well, thank you again, Alex, for joining us and introducing us to another great digital nomad destination. Guys, if you haven't checked out Antalya 2023, or like next week, could be the best time, and you could discover a whole new wonderful place to visit and revisit again and again.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to tell all of this, Becky, and I hope to see you soon as well.
Thank you. Yes, I can't wait to visit. It'll be my first time, and I'm sure it won't be my last based on all that you've just said. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.